Well, sorry for the rudimentary video. This is Farmer Boy here, and I'm gonna make me a charge battery. I got one of these Harbor Freight Apache boxes, same one that I've got my iCharger in. And I've shoved a bunch of batteries in here. I think I'm gonna go 10P7S. That way it works with both my Hoda and my iCharger. Otherwise I'd go 10P like I've done with the 10S Ryobi 40 volts and run my iCharger off of. Fortunately, it don't work that good. I've also made these to attach 6 of these 4 amp hours for my Hoda, and that works pretty good. But when I saw these were on sale at batteryhookup.com, and I saw that Johnny Fly had made one out of it, I thought they might be a pretty good deal. So these have a BMS at the top of every individual cell. So I'm not planning on using a BMS, however, I will set my charger to not over discharge or overcharge these, and I plan on doing solar charging in the future. I picked up a couple of these, see if I can find them. By the way, a toolbox works magnificent. Some of these cheap MPPTs, they're adjustable voltage from like 12 all the way up to 80 some volts. You can do the presets or the voltage. Anyways, I am not going to do a full time lapse of this. I'm going to take some short clips in stages. Right now I'm slicing the software on the computer, which none of my computers are very powerful right now, so it's taking a minute. Oh, good, here we go. And I am heating up the printer. I'm going to do 2 7S 5Ps that I've cut down from a 10S or 7S 10P because my printer's not big enough to print 10S 7P. That'll give me a 0.5 millimeter or so around the case to shove foam in there. Plenty of room on top. It'll be a great charge pack. If I want to do an inverter and stuff, I'll integrate that into another system, and then I can pair these charge packs together. Each box came with like 80 batteries, and 7S10P is 70 batteries, so I'll have a few batteries left over, and I bought 4 cases, so we will see how it goes. I'd like to do a bunch of solar stuff, including with the Ryobi stuff, but it all costs money, so here we go. Let's see if this thing fires away. I'm gonna try the first one with just this cheap ABS. Oh, I should have scaled it up. We'll try it for a little bit and see how the batteries fit. These batteries do have the BMS and a cable running down the side to make the positive and negative. So that does not look big enough. And it is not sticking. Well, I'm gonna have some printer problems. I will update you guys when I get this figured out. Alright, so I scaled up about 10%. I decided to just go for it. I dropped the nozzle down a little bit, and I'm hoping it sticks. I picked the right model. This is what I was talking about. It's got this wire down the side from the negative, I presume, up to the positive, and then an extra layer of heat shrink. And ABS is gonna shrink, so I figured 10%. I can go less later. Araya, I got a helper with me today.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'll check back in with more updates. Thanks. Well, hopefully this shrinks quite a bit, because if you look there, it's quite large. But it's ABS, and this is why we have prototypes. So I'm just gonna let this run. This filament's some ABS that came with a Prusa clone of some sorts that a buddy gave me a while back. And it's kind of getting See, I don't know if you can tell, but it gets like brown, the edges are wavy, it's either got water or something in it. I'm not sure where my box of filament is, but it just kind of needs to get used up. So we'll prototype this, see how they fit, and make some calculations, and see if I can shrink it down. Cool. Another update. Well, quick update. It's been a few days, and the spacer I printed was way too large for my box, not to mention I scaled it up too much. So what I had to do is go into Tinkercad, cut some circles in a square sheet, and kind of make my own, which I can post on Thingiverse, if any of y'all are interested. And, yeah, I'm just going to print this up, try it, and see. I kind of fixed some of my printer, because the extruder's messing up. Well, no, I didn't fix anything. I just turned off retraction because I was eating through the filament way too bad. But that's a quick update, and I'll let you know how it goes. So, update, I decided to bag the 3D printer after a couple more failed prints and had to fix the hot glue gun. But I decided to hot glue. I started off running all the way down the cells on each side, but my hot glue gun could not keep up. So I found on the last few, I was just putting dabs here. I had to repair a couple like this, but I haven't had to repair any that I just dabbed top. I found the best way is to kind of squeeze them in the lid, take the foam out of the top temporarily, and squeeze them in the lid, get these. And then what I plan to do is I got some of this Max Grip carpet tape from Home Depot. And I plan on, because if these short out, rub through to the sides, it won't really matter because they're both the same negative. But if they rub through to the side of the next layer, because I'm going 7P, then it'll cause a short. And what I think I'm going to do, I was going to do bus bars, but I'm not really sure how unless I tape down. So I think what I'll do is I'll just go negative to positive to negative to positive, and solder them together all the way up, and then just do a bus bar for negative and a bus bar for positive, because I shouldn't really have to balance this pack as each cell has a BMS. I might add one down the road. It'll be pretty easy accessible, but by doing it this way I was able to get 11 in, so that'll boost me up from 26 amp hour to 28.6 amp hour, 24 volt, and yeah, we'll see how it goes. This is the Harbor Freight Apache case, and 28 amp hours, 24 volt will be pretty sweet for solar charging and charging my drone stuff. Thanks. Holy cow. I just gotta say, the stickiness level of this stuff is absolutely insane. And I'm sure it'll get better when it cures, but that's heavy. I just basically stuck a layer, doubling up layers. Put some on the bottom. Look at that. The batteries aren't going nowhere. That stuff's insane. I could definitely see other uses for this in drone stuff. Wish I had a better way to cut it though, because this, like, it's just locks up your scissors. It's insane. It is absolutely crazy. Again, that was Robert's Max Grip carpet. This stuff you get 75 feet for like $10 at Home Depot. I mean, this stuff that kind of makes 3M. I mean, they both have their uses, but this is definitely stickier. And you stick it in the wrong spot, just put it down because it ain't coming back up. Fiberglass, which is non-conductive in there. Yeah, it's cool stuff. Man, I'm still just blown away at this Rub Doctor stuff. It just sticky. I got it off my scissors. I had to soak it pretty aggressively in acetone and then scrub it pretty good. And still, as soon as the acetone dried, it sticks to everything. Touched it to my beard once, and it just pulled the hairs right out. It was close. I turned this upside down and just shook it aggressively. Sorry for that. One hand, and not a wobble one. That thing is solid. Sucks to be the guy maintenancing, but cool. And then, yeah, I think I'll just go negative, positive to negative. And then heat shrink it. Just go across and then bus bar. I shoved some packaging in there just because I had the sticky in there mostly. And yeah, that stuff's only going to be unsticky when you get dirt on it. And 2 layers between everything, so, and especially where it won't move to vibrate. It's I'm pretty happy with it, so we'll see how it goes. I think I have plenty of room. This fits in the case actually really nice. I think I have plenty of room to put a little cardboard over top and maybe a BMS in the lid, if I wanted a second BMS. But for the most part, the chargers will kind of take care of it, and each cell's got its own BMS. But we'll see. I'll check it with the multimeter every now and then, and or put some balance leads on it eventually. But I think for now, just positive, negative crossed all the way down. Positive or main negative, main positive, and that should be it. Thanks, guys. Well, pro tip, if you haven't already skipped ahead of me, it's a lot easier to cut all the negatives across, all the positives across, and then go each one together, because if any of these accidentally short, it ain't gonna hurt anything. You might notice my mess up here. Pulled a little too hard on that positive wire and popped it right off the BMS. Just pulled the solder joint too, so it might have been a faulty thing. But I broke the positive connector there, prying up the BMS, put a new wire on, put a little jumper wire there, and stick some 3M underneath that to isolate it, and then stick it back down, as opposed to trying to get that cell out, because I dropped this thing upside down and nothing moved in here. It's pretty solid. So we'll see how that goes. Well, guys, I'm just finishing up here, and I did have 2 more boo-boos. Always seems to be the positive. This one here, I just took the BMS out, and the easiest way I found to do that is to just use an X-Acto knife or a scalpel, or even this. Just kind of pull away the heat shrink there, lift up the PCB board just a hair, and then put your iron right there on that tab and lift up the positive. And on this one, I lifted up the positive and just took the BMS out. All these were the positive lead. I was looking closer at this board, and it's switched negative. I'm sure you can't see that. And so this one, I've reconnected the board and just connected the positive wire right to the positive terminal. Bypass that. But I was looking closely at this board, and I'm not sure if you had a ground issue, if you could. But if you can see, I bared up this, or this pad. Right there, it's actually double-sided positive. So if you pulled off one of these red wires, you would just open it up right here to the left, take that cardboard, peel that cardboard off, and then scratch that until you can get a dab of solder on there, and then reattach your positive, just like the one next to it. You wouldn't have to open up the cell at all. I just wanted to share that, and you don't have a mess like this one. This one I reattached to the pad, but then I had to run a jumper wire back to the positive of the battery, which I might take that off and fix that actually. Just come up here with this jumper wire to here or something. But yeah, I think if a guy just took and scraped off the cardboard here with an X-Acto knife or really carefully with your fingernail, and then scratch that down, he could just reattach this positive. I don't like how that positive's so close to the case there, but what's life without a little risk, I guess. Just kind of scratch that away, and it would then retensionate wire and back on there. Of course, ideally, doing 7S 11P, I have 3 of these, and I only screwed up 3 of these, but this freaking rug glue stuff, so damn, even right now, is so damn sticky, and then it's reinforced, like, it sticks to everything. I don't think I'd ever get a cell out of there. unless I douse the battery in acetone or something. Just kind of heat shrink across. That's another thing to think about where these are switched on the negative. I remember not worrying too much about these rubbing through, but if you ran balance wires to have another BMS and you rub through on the negative, it would not turn off the negative to that one cell. Granted, if you had a good bus or a good balance cable between them, then there shouldn't be any reason for this BMS to kick off and this BMS to be on. But it would route that ground right through here and through this BMS and could potentially have a problem, but I doubt it. Anyways, guys, plan on here doing just like I did. I'm not sure where it's gone. Oh, just like I did this cable. So take some 10 gauge, just strip off a little bit of the insulation, solder the wire to it, and then come down from one end all the way down with heat shrink. And that should be a pretty clean and should allow me to get a good 10 gauge or 8 gauge. I bought some 8 gauge, so I'll probably use 8 gauge. Come out to a CE 3, guys, a CE5, and then put a balance board on. Thanks, guys, and got kids. Well, there she is, boys. I guess really the only thing to go over now. So here I tied a wire to it, slipped heat shrink, tied a wire, slipped heat shrink, tied a wire, slipped heat shrink, blah blah blah. This one I tied 2 wires, probably should have made another cut there. I can fix that later. I just kind of ran my iron into the case to hold my positive and negatives. I don't have this end terminated yet. Definitely for these, don't use 8 gauge, use 10 gauge. But if you do get 8 gauge, I found sliding the silicone back, running it through, soldering it, and then sliding it back up to the connector was the way to go, because the wire's just too big. Here I kind of just got lazy. This is far from the negatives anyways. I think we'll be alright. I'll probably fix it later with some silicone glue. If I were to do this again, I'd probably leave a space by the negative or whatever side these are on. I did it this way because there's a copper bar along the negative here on the outside of the inside shrink wrap, so it just adds a little bit more padding. And I did find right at the end, as you can see from all these half connectors, a good pair of tin snips, or even an old rusty pair. Just cut right through the connector. You don't want to do this when it's positive and negative, because you'll create a short. Probably add some tape over all these connectors just to keep them, it doesn't matter if it rubs through there, I don't think, but keep them down. I do got the foam padding on the top there, and this is good enough for me. Questions, concerns, leave them down in the comments, and I will try this thing out tomorrow and see how it goes. Thanks, guys. Well, here she is. Looks like I got some heat shrink falling off. So I think what I will do is run a balance wire, just the same kind of technique as I got going on here. This way to the middle and this way to the middle to try and balance the balance leads. These will kind of sort out. This is plenty large enough cable. But if I'm going to be balancing with them, and I'll probably just balance with my RC charger for now. I think I have plenty of room up here if I wanted to add a BMS. I'm not sure how I'd do it to the power wires, but that way I could clean up these and make them safe, probably put some tape on it. Next time I'll probably use a better foam here, slide this back down like we were talking about. But yeah, got 3 more to build. I'm really liking this. It's heavy. You can shake this upside down. These batteries aren't going anywhere. Got a few mistakes, but I think maybe plans for the future would be to use the ratcheting wire strippers that grabs the wire and then pulls the sheeting off, and then I won't be pulling on those wires at all. More videos come on this, and more videos come on like these details. But yeah, thanks guys. Farmer Boy out.